This is Mr. Anderson for Kellogg Community College with our second video here to go through the practice test for Chapter 6. And we're going to kind of start off with page 2 here. And what we're going to do is add some fractions together, but you'll notice that the denominator is not the same. So my lowest common denominator of these two is going to be a plus b, because of what we see here, and also a minus b, because you can factor this into a difference of squares, a plus b, a minus b. And so what this fraction would need is this would need to be multiplied by 1, or a minus b, a minus b. So what this is going to mean is that we're going to need to FOIL this to all of these pieces here. So this is my 4ab is going to be added to the FOIL of this, which is going to be a cubed minus a squared b. That's the first two parts of the FOIL, plus our ab squared plus, a negative b cubed. So that's my 4 cables of the FOIL there, making sure my pluses and minuses and negatives are correct. And this is all going to be over a plus b, a minus b. And I can write that as either a plus b, a minus b, or a squared minus b squared. You can see in the second part of this problem, I'm going to write this out in parentheses, just because either way is fine, but it could be a situation where something in the top will simplify with something on the bottom. Now here, unfortunately, I'm not sure there is anything that simplifies, because our first term would be a cubed, and then our second term would be anything with an a squared in it, so that would be minus a squared b. And then now there's anything with an a. Let's go with the 4ab next. And then we'll check out the ab squared. So there's only just one of those, plus ab squared. And then we're going to finally get down to something that doesn't have an a in it, the minus b to the third power. So you can see that actually nothing was done different in the problem other than just the order was changed, and that's fine too. That is your final answer for this problem, and there's nothing to factor in the numerator, so we are done with the problem. Okay, problem 6, what I'm going to first do is make this a plus negative, just so I don't have to worry about the subtraction there. This is to try to find our lowest common denominator. It looks like this can be factored into y minus 3 and y plus 5, which is nice because that happens to be our lowest common denominator, y minus 3 and y plus 5. So what this means is that each of these two fractions are going to have to be multiplied by whatever they don't have. So my 6 over y plus 5 is going to get multiplied by a y minus 3 to get common denominators. Technically y minus 3 over y minus 3, which is multiplying by a very fancy 1. This fraction here, the negative y over y minus 3, is going to get multiplied by 1 as well, and that's going to be y plus 5 over y plus 5. Plus my y squared plus 7 is already over my y minus 3, y plus 5, so I have to do nothing for that. Now this entire numerator is going to get strung together here, so this is going to get distributed. So this is 6y minus 18. This is going to get distributed here, so this is negative y squared minus 5y. And there's no distribution here, this is just a positive y squared plus 7. All over y minus 3, y plus 5. Well, let's do some simplification in the numerator and see if anything simplifies out here. Looks like our minus y squareds and plus y squareds, they simplify to 1. Or 0, sorry, in this case. And the 6y minus 5y, that makes just a y. And then what we have here is negative 18 plus 7, which is going to be plus negative 11, all over y minus 3 and y plus 5. Sorry about that 3 there. There we go. So what this means is that nothing simplifies here because we'd have to have a perfect match for one of these 3 binomials to simplify to 1. So that's unfortunately the answer of that problem. So that's as far as we can go, but please just make sure during your test that you look for things like that could simplify. Alright, so now halfway through the page here, we're going to do these 2 problems and call it to the end of the video. We're going to have some fractions built into fractions here, so let's take our step 1 here, and I'll be color changing this just like I did in the videos earlier. We need to get a common denominator here, so it looks like our My common denominator for the numerator, our LCD, is going to be AB. So this 4 over A needs to be multiplied by B over B. Plus my 8 over B needs to be multiplied by A over A. So what this means is I have 8A plus 4B divided by my AB. And now I'll switch this to the bottom color for the denominator here. Okay, so my lowest common denominator for this denominator here, my LCD, is going to be A squared B. So that means my first fraction, my 12 over AB, is going to need an A over A. And then I'm going to add to that my 4 over A squared, and that is going to need a letter B. Which means that I'm going to have a 12A plus 4B divided by A squared B. Now, in my next step of the problem, I'm going to take my denominator here, this denominator below the green line, and I'm going to skip the first blue fraction and flip the light blue fraction, and that's going to give me this little movement from here to up here. So this is going to be A squared B over 12A plus 4B, and this is going to be multiplied. Now we can do some simplification. Now, the easiest simplification we can do here, let me just change to a new color. All right, let's do some, like the A can cancel out with this A and take it to the first power. The B can simplify with this B. And then we can do some factoring here. So you'll notice that I can pull out of this numerator, I can pull out a 2, or a 4 in this case. And if I pull out a 4, that is going to give me 2A plus B. And in this denominator here, this red denominator, I can pull out a 4 as well. And that's going to give me 3A plus B. So the 4's then simplify. So what I have left with in black is I have A times 2A plus B. And I also have, down here, I have, let's see here, the 3A plus B is the only thing I have left. And there's nothing else to simplify, because for me to simplify this binomial and this binomial, they'd have to be exactly the same. All right, now for the last problem on this worksheet and our first problem in working with solving for x, I'm going to go with what I've been talking about usually, which is called clearing the denominator. Now I know some people call it cross multiplying, but when we see problem number 9 in the next video, you'll understand why I can't just cross multiply. So there's an equal sign in this problem, so my goal is to find out what is A equal to. So anytime you have an equal sign here, you have to show what is A going to be. So the lowest common denominator here is A plus 1, A minus 1. So I write my LCD, I just think of my LCD off to the side, because I'm going to multiply both sides by A plus 1, A minus 1. And this is called clearing the denominator because this will simplify with that, and this will simplify with this. So I have 6 times A minus 1, and that's equal to A times A plus 1. Now, it goes to show you that you probably should think about your excluded values. X cannot be equal to -1, and x cannot be equal to +1, because if I plug those in for the denominators, we'll get a division of 0 error. So now we have to solve this problem and make sure when we get through it that A does not equal these two values. So let's do some distribution here. So we got 6A minus 6 is equal to A squared plus A. Now it's best when you have an A squared and an A to move everything to the one side and set it equal to 0. And this will allow us to factor the possible answers. So by subtracting the 6A from both sides and adding the 6 to both sides, we're going to get 0 is equal to A squared minus 5A plus 6, which is factorable. This is factorable into A minus 2 and A minus 3. These are two numbers that multiply to make 6 and add to make -5. Now, to solve for this then, I'm going to set each of these equal to 0, A minus 2 equals 0, and A minus 3 equals 0, and solve for A. Here A is equal to 2 if I add 2 to both sides. Here A is equal to 3. Therefore, my answer is the set of 2 and 3. And notice that these are not my danger numbers, so therefore those two problems are good. There is a solution, and this happens to have two solutions. So if you plug this into your problem, you'd get 2 over 3, which is equal to 2 over 1. Let me see if that, let's see, no, I'm sorry, I plugged my answer in incorrectly. Let me start over again. If I plug my 2 into this equation, this is 6 over 3, which is the same thing as 2 over 1. And 6/3 is the same thing as 2 over 1, which is 2. Now I plug my 3 into the problem. 6/4 is the same thing as 3/2. So these are my two answers. They both check as I plug them back in for the A, and it works out just fine. Well, thanks for watching, and I will make more videos for pages 3, 4, and 5. Thank you very much.